Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be chatting all about my favorite drugstore and affordable concealers. So a few weeks back we talked all about my favorite drugstore foundations, and here today I am back at it again with the next best thing, at least for me, which are concealers. So in a concealer I always look for something that's medium to buildable coverage, creamy, easy to blend, long wearing, and that doesn't excessively crease under my eyes. So I naturally already have a lot of fine lines under my eyes, especially when I smile or if I'm talking or something. You can just see them right there. So no matter what concealer I use, it's always going to crease, but there are some concealers where my under eyes don't look as bad, and there's some concealers where it looks like I have creases going all the way down close to my nose. Like, it's a hot mess. So with these concealers in particular, my under eyes look as flawless as they're going to get. So of course I wanted to share them with you guys. I use a lot of these so often in makeup tutorials, on camera, off camera. So of course I'm going to show you guys some side-by-side comparisons so you can see, of course, before and after, how it looks under my eyes, how easy it is to blend. And I'm pretty sure all of these concealers are around like the $10, $11, no more than $12. So I got you covered. Literally. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, don't forget to grab a snack and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before jumping into it, I do want to mention that my absolute favorite sponge to blend out my concealer is the e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. If you watched my foundation video, you know that I mentioned it in there. It's just absolutely amazing for both foundation and concealer. It's bouncy, doesn't absorb any of your product, and I feel like this just really gives you maximum coverage no matter what concealer you're using. It's just the most amazing sponge. But you can see the sponge is pretty big, so sometimes when I'm getting under my eyes, it can be a little bit too big, especially for the inner corners. So that's when my brush will come into play. So my absolute favorite concealer brush is the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. Literally, it is just like the name says. It's so affordable. It's great for really blending out small, precise areas on your face, whether that's like around your nose, around your mouth, right in the inner corner of your eyes. It is just the best. If you guys watch any of my videos, you know that I use that brush all the time. So those are my two favorite tools for concealer. So those links will be down below if you guys do want to purchase, because again, they're affordable. So it's like, why would you not? Just go get them and thank me later. And this sponge is what I did use in all of the overlays that you guys are going to see of me applying each concealer. I just cleaned it off after every use. Anyways, okay. Let's get into the concealer. I guess I'm gonna start off with most full coverage to like lightest coverage. So the most full coverage and most amazing concealer that I own, that I love, I mean, you could use it for every single day, but specifically if you're doing something more dramatic, or if you just have a night out and you wanna have that extra extreme full coverage, is this one. So this is the BH Studio Pro Total Coverage Concealer. So I have mine in the shade 106, and honestly, I have never seen anybody talking about this concealer, and I don't know why, because it is so full coverage. It's so creamy, it lasts a long time, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. I'm just amazed. Every time I use this concealer, I'm like, holy coverage, it's amazing. So this is actually a dupe for the Huda Beauty, the Overachiever concealer, which I actually do really like this concealer, and it is great, but obviously it's expensive. So if you want a really great dupe, the BH one, honestly, in my opinion, is spot on. The only difference is the packaging. I mean, they're both like squeezy tube packagings. The Huda Beauty one has like a metal applicator, the BH one doesn't. But honestly, that's not really a huge deal breaker for me, because like what matters is on the inside, and on the inside, the BH concealer is, like I said, spot on. So really, really great dupe. You can get this at Ulta. I don't know if all Ultas will have it in store, but I know for sure online you can get it. And I'm telling you guys, it is so worth getting online if you're looking for like extreme maximum coverage. So I specifically really like this concealer when I'm doing something more dramatic. I mean, you could totally wear it for every single day, but I know on a daily basis, not everyone loves like super full coverage. But when you're doing a really bold makeup look, you have a special event, you just need that extra coverage, dark circles, you didn't sleep, you got to get this concealer. So this one is my first favorite. Okay, next up we have a really great Tarte Shape Tape dupe. For all of my Tarte Shape Tape lovers out there, you guys know it's a really great concealer, but I've heard through the grapevine that this concealer can be very drying on a lot of different people. Now, for me personally, it's not. I don't have super dry under eyes. I feel like my under eyes are very normal. However, I feel like this dupe is exactly like Tarte Shape Tape, except it's more creamy and it's a little bit more hydrating without being like dewy or too excessive. So I have here CoverGirl's True Blend Undercover Concealer. So this one I have in the shade Golden Natural. So like I mentioned, this is really an exact Tarte Shape Tape dupe, but it's a little bit more hydrating. So maybe if you tried out Tarte Shape Tape and you didn't love it because of the formula, I definitely encourage you to check out the CoverGirl one, just because I feel like it is just so much more creamy. It's easier to blend and it doesn't crease on me as much as the Tarte Shape Tape does. Especially in the wintertime, I feel like a formula like the CoverGirl one is definitely more ideal, just because the Tarte Shape Tape one I feel like has like almost like a soft powder matte finish, and it's really beautiful. I do love Tarte Shape Tape, but I just find myself going to the CoverGirl one more just because it is more creamy, just a little bit easier to work with, and of course for the price, I mean, you can't beat it. CoverGirl overall, I feel like just has really great complexion products. They work really well with my skin and I just love them, and then their shade range is always on point, so you can't go wrong with that one. And I feel like a lot of different skin types could get away with wearing it if you have dry under eyes, more oily under eyes, because the formula is natural. It's not dewy, it's not powder, it's just perfect. Another kind of similar formula that I feel like honestly it is very similar is the L'Oreal Full Wear More Than Concealer. So I like to personally mix two shades. So I usually will mix a little bit of 365 Cashew with 360 Cashmere. 360 is a little too light for me, and then I feel like Cashew is a little too dark, like especially for me right now. So I like to mix concealers, just again depending on the kind of look that I'm doing. Anyways, L'Oreal, this is another really great concealer. It's natural, it's creamy, and it has that really great coverage. I truthfully feel like this is almost identical to the CoverGirl concealer that I just mentioned, but I wanted to mention both just because I know at the drugstore a lot of people can have maybe a hard time finding their perfect match. So they both have really great shade ranges, but I feel like they're also a little bit different at the same time, so it could cater to different groups of people and different skin tones and all that. So that's why I wanted to mention both of them. But I truly feel like I said, both of them are great. I really don't see much of a difference whenever I'm wearing both of these. They both have similar packaging, similar formula. They're very identical to me. I did actually a dupe comparison between the L'Oreal Full Wear Concealer and the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer, which is another high-end concealer, and they're both great. Using them side by side, you really cannot tell a difference. So the formulas, again, are super similar, and the packaging as well. I feel like the Jouer one is less drying than Tarte Shape Tape, just to give you a little reference, and yeah. So yeah, L'Oreal Full Wear is another really great option as well. I also really love the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. The only thing with that is that the undertones are a little bit different. I know it can be very difficult to find your shade. Like even with me, I feel like I'm always having to mix shades. But if you can find your shade in that, I think that is also a really great concealer, and it's like $6. And that also reminds me a lot of Tarte Shape Tape. That one definitely does have more of a soft powder finish, just like the Tarte Shape Tape, like I said. So if maybe you have super oily under eyes, I think you would really like that one. It definitely doesn't have that natural formula or consistency like the CoverGirl one, like I mentioned. But again, it's a really great alternative, and if you are an oily skin person out there, you will love that one if you can find your shade. But that one is great. Next up, I have like that classic go-to concealer that I always end up going back to, specifically more so in the summer. I love it just because I like the way that it looks on my skin. I feel like it kind of just works better with my skin because of the finish of it. It's more of like a soft matte finish. Not too drying, but I feel like if you have dry skin, maybe it's not going to be your favorite concealer, but it's the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I love this concealer, and I specifically love it for spot concealing and cream contouring. I feel like it just works so beautifully that way, especially for cream contouring, because the formula is so creamy that when you blend it in, it's just so effortless and it's so easy. You can just blend it in like a couple of seconds and it looks stunning on the skin. So I really like the shade C13 for cream contouring, and then just for my under eyes for an everyday basis, I love C7. I think this is truly a great like solid medium coverage concealer. I don't feel like this is an exact dupe for Tarte Shape Tape, especially after testing out so many other concealers nowadays. I don't feel like it's like exactly. If you want an exact Tarte Shape Tape dupe, like formula, everything, definitely get the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. And then if you want the Tarte Shape Tape, but you want a little bit more of a hydrating version, get the CoverGirl one. But if you want something just medium coverage, perfect for every day, you want a cream contour, you want to have a lot of shades, Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define is great, and it's an affordable option. So I always end up using it again in videos and just like in my everyday makeup routine, because I really do like the formula of it, and I like how it wears throughout the day. I think it's very beautiful, and it doesn't excessively crease on me. And I feel like with me creasing, it also depends on the powder that I'm using. To be be honest. Last, but certainly not least, I have a newer favorite, but I am just amazed at this concealer, and it's really been one of my go-tos. So this is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. If you have dry skin, oily skin, combo skin, any skin type, I feel like this is going to work for you because it really is just like that pretty natural fresh concealer. It makes your skin look so healthy, like you woke up with like really bomb coverage. Like I don't know how they did it, but it is incredible, and this looks so good after several hours of wearing it. I also did do a wear test with this. I feel like this is such a versatile concealer too, because you could wear it for every single day if you want to something very natural but you still want really great coverage, or if you want to build it up, it's still going to look really great as well. And if you're doing something more dramatic, you can do that. Now, it's not as full coverage as the BH Cosmetics concealer that I first told you guys about, but it does have really great coverage when you build it up, and the shade range is also really nice, and it is perfect for spot concealing. So if you have some red blemishes, acne scarring, it will cover it up and it will just look like just so natural. Like it doesn't even look like you have concealer on. Like it's just like, it's like a magical formula that I personally really love, and I feel like a lot of different people, like working people, will love it because it could work for someone who's in school, someone who goes to work every day, for moms who are just on the go and you want something like quick, easy, you don't want to take your time with it, you just want to blend and go. This is great. So ColourPop Pretty Fresh, that's exactly what it is. So those are my top 5 favorite concealers. I do have so many other favorite concealers, and you guys have seen me talk about so many other ones besides these, but I wanted to narrow it down to like my absolute holy grails, and 5, I feel like that's just a good number because I don't want to overwhelm you guys with kind of like the same sort of claims with each concealer. So I wanted to just stick to 5 because I like 5. And hopefully I was able to give you different options based on like your skin type and what you're looking for in a concealer. I really hope that this wasn't too all over the place, and I really tried to describe the concealer, like each of them, as best as I could without sounding too repetitive. I know I'm kind of saying like the same thing, but I really feel like even though these are just concealers and when you see them on my under eyes, they probably all look the same, but I feel like when you have all of them and me testing them out all the time, they each have their own like unique traits, which is why I love them so much. So I tried to include concealers also that have like a pretty decent shade range where hopefully a lot of you guys are able to test these out and love them just as much as I do. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I always love your recommendations, so definitely leave me a comment. That is it. I hope you guys are doing well today. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you very soon in a few days in my next one. Bye!